Hello, my name is Aaron and welcome to Board Games, Bricks, and Hobbies. This is Versus, a series where I take two board games and make them fight. Well, not literally, but I'm going to be taking a look at two games, comparing them, and letting you know which one I prefer. Today we are taking a look at King of Tokyo and King of New York. Alright, so about a year ago on this channel, I reviewed King of New York, and I kind of went into why I prefer it over King of Tokyo, but that video wasn't meant to be a direct comparison, so I'm kind of fixing that now retroactively. Also in that video, I had the personality of a potato, and it's honestly a bit boring. You can watch it if you want, but this video will hopefully be more informative. So before I get into which one I think is better, I want to go over some similarities. Alright, so to start things off with these similarities, given that they're both from the same publisher and the same designer, they're going to have a lot in common as they share the core system, which is the Yahtzee mechanic where you are rolling dice, setting some aside, keeping those, and then re-rolling the others. And they are both monster fighting games for 2 to 6 players. In both games, you can either win by bringing all of your opponents to 0 hearts, and defeating them, or you can win by getting 20 victory points and winning that way. Both games also allow you to collect energy, which you can then trade in for cards. Those cards can be either one-time powers or permanent abilities. And also both games have the same number of expansions, with one exception, which is the Halloween expansion that only works with King of Tokyo. However, the other expansions, both games have a power-up expansion, and all of the monster packs are intercompatible between both games. So those are the similarities. Let's go ahead and get into the differences. Alright, so let's get into the differences. The main difference is that King of New York has a lot more going on in it. Not so much that it makes it a completely different or more complex game, but it just has more stuff. The time difference is approximately 10 minutes, but in my experience, they both last about the same amount of time. However, theoretically, King of Tokyo has the shorter time limit with about 30 minutes to play, whereas King of New York will take about 40. Granted, that doesn't include any rules or explaining things like that. Now, there are more differences in the gameplay, the first of which comes from the dice themselves. In King of Tokyo, the way that you score points is by rolling 3 of the same number. The dice have a 1, a 2, and a 3 on them. And you can get 3 points by rolling 3 threes. You can get 2 points by rolling 3 twos, and so on. You can also score points with cards and other things, but the primary way to get points is simply rolling numbers. And that to me is a bit dry. In King of New York, you roll stars to get points. 2 stars doesn't do anything, nor does 1 star. But if you get 3 stars, then you get what is called the superstar card, and at that point, any star that you get is worth a point no matter how many you roll. Granted, that card can be stolen from you, and it kind of just goes around to whoever wins it. But that to me is a much more streamlined approach to points. And obviously there are other ways to get points as well, with cards, and also buildings. Buildings are a huge addition in King of New York. Each spot has buildings on it that you can crush, and these buildings can be crushed with the roll of a die, and they give you more points. After you have crushed them, they turn into military units. In essence, the more of the city you destroy, the greater the escalation. And I like that little bit of theme in there. And you can also crush these in the same way that you would a building and get another reward. In this case, a heart. So I like that little bit of added theme and also that extra layer of gameplay. And that connects to the board itself. In King of Tokyo, there are only 2 spots. Well, 3 spots if you're playing a larger game, but there's essentially inside of Tokyo and outside of Tokyo. There's no other places to go, whereas in King of New York, you have the 5 boroughs, and Manhattan is where the players go to essentially be king of the hill. So I like the extra movement. It does, again, add a bit more to the rules, but I just really like having the theme and the additional buildings and more stuff to do. So that's enough about that. Let's get into the verdict. Alright, so obviously I haven't been doing a great job of hiding my biases, and the fact that I've been showing you parts of King of New York probably gives it away. But I'm going to give this one to King of New York. For me, it's just the superior game. It's more thematic, and it has just more going on for me than King of Tokyo, which feels kind of themeless. Yes, the monsters are fun, and the cards, which are part of my favorite part of the game, are cool, but I just really like the additional theme, crushing the buildings and stuff like that King of New York adds. And in my opinion, the extra 5 to 10 minutes is totally worth that extra little bit of flavor and gameplay. So those are my thoughts on King of New York. I know that I am most definitely in the minority on this. A lot of people like the simplicity of King of Tokyo, and that's totally fine. But for me, I think I prefer this one. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. I look forward to reading them, and I hope to see you again in another video. Take care. Bye.